joga a bunda pra cima. Vem 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 joga a bunda pra cima. 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 Joga a bunda pra cima.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Soccers and the Major Arena Soccer League. My name is Craig Elston, joined, as always, by Tony Sanchez for this Season 8, Episode 11, The Nick of Time, which is exactly what the Soccers needed to deliver a big win against Tacoma. What's going on, Tony?
I'm feeling really good after a fantastic weekend of soccer, both in and outdoor. And you know what? It feels like the weekend, even though we're on Wednesday yesterday. And I really enjoyed everything that's going on. And about some time for some soccer's magic to happen. Hasn't happened in a while, and I love seeing what happened over there.
Yeah, we wondered, was it left at Pechanga Arena? Did it make the trip up north? Some soccer's magic at Front Wave Arena on Sunday afternoon for sure. Here's what's going on the show tonight. Soccers get that win last second against Tacoma. We've got the thrilling recap with all of the Eddie Trujillo delivered highlights. We'll go through those in our next segment. Our special guest tonight is defender Mitchell Cardenas. He will take us behind the scenes of San Diego's grueling road trip. Also, today's fun team activity, semi-annual thing they do. Not semi-annual, meaning twice a year, meaning they mostly do it every year, which is a paintball excursion. Out East County way. Yeah. All right. Don't think that the first question I asked was, did someone get shot in the eye with a paintball? Did someone have a paintball break their ankle? No, apparently, like games, they can get through paintball activities unscathed. It's only structured practices that are the bane of the group. We'll talk to Mitchell about that and everything else. In MASL news, we'll take a look back. Tough weekend for the Strikers on the road. Is this the most balanced MASL in history? I think there's just no question about it. We'll dig into that. And then in Soccers news, we'll give you an injury update. We'll give you an absence update. We'll take a look at the alumni rosters. We'll get you ready for a really fun Saturday night at Front Wave Arena. It's all ahead on Soccer's Overtime. If you appreciate the show, we appreciate you being there, especially everyone who's joining us live, jumping into the comments already. Make sure that you hit that like button right away, please. Let's get a 1-to-1 ratio of everyone here live hitting the like button. If you're watching us on replay on YouTube, please also follow suit. Clicking that button is going to be helpful for us and for other MASL fans. Make sure to click subscribe so you know each time we go live with the program. If you're listening to the audio version of this, do know that it is a YouTube designed show. So when we do the highlight segments, we're not trying to describe them radio style for you. Check out the YouTube channel. But also while you're there, if you can give us a 5-star rating or a kind review, all those things are helpful for Soccer's Overtime. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Great to be here. Well, pretty interesting in that the first time Tacoma came to town, Tony, December 30th, we had gotten some rough reports of things not clicking in Soccer Town. We got the report that Chris Toth broke his finger. There were other guys that were hurt at that time. And I remember, everyone talking before the game and thinking like, well, for sure, this is going to be a close game. For sure, this is going to be a tough game, a close game. And, the craziest thing would be if San Diego just came out and stepped on them. And then it was 8-0 San Diego final score. That was bizarre. Then the entire road trip happened, the 6-match road trip. And then you come back and you get the chance to face the same team again with Alex Caceres added to it, but otherwise the same team again. And the game that we kind of thought, Tony, we'd see on December 30th was the game that we saw on February 1st, a Soccer's team that was, injury depleted, dog leg tired, and just really ripe for the plucking for Tacoma on Sunday. I think that's why we said that on the broadcast before they kicked off. Like, this is a gigantic game for Tacoma because they've got the Sockers where they want them, tired and wounded.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for Tacoma to really bounce back and, for their record, get their first away win. Like, this was one of these situations where it was a perfect storm for the Stars, and they really couldn't finish off, even though they tried as much as they could. And for, on any other day, it might have gone their way. And maybe they were just a couple of milliseconds away from doing exactly what they were, set up to do. But for the Sockers, and I think we mentioned it in the broadcast, I think it was giving that context as far as like, this is what the Sockers are right now. This is what you're seeing. And it's no discredit to what the Stars did, because the Stars played very well and they managed the game, and they were going two por two and taking advantage of the Sockers' inability to hold on to a lead or just once they score, boom, immediate score back. But with all that considered, if the Sockers came out with a victory, I think we would have all been pleased if they went out and really fought as hard as they could and didn't win. I think it would have been excusable and it would have been okay. And I'm, no panic here, but to be able to do what they did, go to overtime, and then still move forward and get the victory, it's an incredible game. And a lot of it has to do with, I think, the best game and the version of Nick Pereira that I've seen at Front Wave Arena.
Well, let's get into the highlights, as always compiled by Soccer superfan Eddie Trujillo on his YouTube channel, Eddie Bear 60.
He let me know that he actually put a little bit of a clip.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
I've seen it. Yes. So
for the whistle, Nick Pereira.
Oh,
sorry, I muted myself. We begin with a reminder of Soccer's and Stars past, and that for poor Tacoma, their role in this relationship is to suffer the abuse and indignity of moments like this. Chris Toth thinking the ball was going to come to him. It bounces off of the high glass. Instead, it's knocked in by Serta racing in. Escoto, pardon me, by Escoto, back when we had Brandon Escoto. So this was 3 years ago. And take all the time, 5.4 seconds remaining when that ridiculous goal was scored. And of course, San Diego went on to win that game in overtime. Andrew Harvey was still on the mic for Tacoma at that point. I don't remember. I think this was the grim day.
I think this is the darkest day in MASL history.
A grim day in MASL history, because this was the game that they had the shootout and then the accusation that Costa left early. Okay, well, on to the present day. And Sunday afternoon in the blue turf. And early chances for Craig Childs there, one and another. Second one blocked by Nestor Hernandez for a free kick, and then free kick gets blocked. And here we go with the Tacoma counter. This was really a sign of the match. Tyler John being able to run unimpeded, get across multiple lines. And in this case, Logan Jones, who was the guy who blocked the initial shot back in the defensive zone, he takes it all the way down the floor. He's not marked. A couple of guys a little bit late to get to him. Momo Guy was the one who was running with him and then allowed him to receive the pass. So tough scene all the way around for 1-0 San Diego. And then you've got Craig Childs trying to get a swinging half volley, comes down awkwardly, limps off the floor, meets up with Paul Savage, comes out, and with 3 minutes and change in the first quarter, that's the last we saw of Craig Childs on Sunday afternoon. We'll give an update on Craig's condition, which seems to be a little bit more of a positive update than was maybe anticipated when you saw him leave and not come back. But we'll talk about that more in Soccer's News. Nonetheless, Craig left, did not return. Tavoy out of the lineup to begin with. Bebe Gonzalez, who had been the defensive running forward, out of the game before things started. And then, look at this. Everyone on Tacoma freezes, even though Brian Miller, the back official, signals right away on this ball that it was a good non-3-line pass. He sticks the arms out as an indicator. Boris takes the touch. Boom, he's on the line. Both officials signal it's good, but Tacoma sleep at the wheel. 1-1. Take a look at Miller right there. He puts the arms out to indicate it's a good pass. And Birouette cannot believe it, but there's no reason to review. There you can see it. It's on the line. So 1-1 is the score. Complete gift by Tacoma in a 1-goal game. Seems kind of important.
Yeah, no, and like that previous goal that was almost like a hidden ball trick, and it almost seemed like the Sockers are going to need things like that and just special plays like we see here with Leonardo, and to be able to get a result. And here in the beginning of the game, it's like, okay, maybe there's a chance, and maybe they can run away with it. Last time we saw Tacoma, they didn't do well at all on this floor. Could this potentially be the change of the tide? But there is a consistent problem with the Sockers.
Christian Fernandez literally leaps up and puts his entire body weight on the back of Leo in the middle of that run. And Leo never even breaks stride. And it's 2-1. And then early in the third quarter, what a pass. He's going to be missed here. Gabi Costa just hits Ruggles exactly in stride with a perfectly weighted ball. Drew off-foots it into the net for 3-1. And like you said, right here, it's early second quarter. The Sockers have scored 3 in a row. It's 3-1. And you're like, it doesn't matter. Even with all the guys out, this club's got too much talent. This game is going to be another runaway for San Diego. Maybe in a different second quarter, that would have been the case. But just seconds later, San Diego concedes, and it comes almost right away. This is on the very next possession. Mendoza down into the corner. Just a little bit too weak of a double team there. Both guys giving space. Mitchell and Pee-wee in between. Cardenas rolls it back to Mendoza as if no one was there, and Nani Mendoza is able to pop it home for 3-2. What an important goal, Tony, in that it kills all the momentum that had been built.
Yeah, and that's something that the Sockers have been really taking advantage of is gaining that momentum and not letting up. But when they do get cut off, sometimes it's a watershed moment for them, and they just can't stop conceding or just do small little mistakes, or their chances are given for the Stars here, and an opportunity for any team to really take advantage of that. And once again, with context, the legs on these players are just like running on sand and molasses at once.
Luis Birouette had a really good game at shot stopping, and you just saw the best run of it there in the final 5 minutes of the second quarter. Really strong, could have conceded maybe 2 or 3 times. There he gets a gun strong throwaway to Tyler John that Pardo has to save. Another scramble in front of the net, and it was all Boris could do. And of course, John's right there in the middle of it. Those two have a rivalry, but the quarter was not over. The half was not over. And on a break, here we go again. Yahir Romero. Nick Pereira is being asked to guard Tyler John on the back post. That's just not going to happen. John's going to beat Pereira down the floor. So whatever you want to say about a play like that, it's just the facts. Good save by Boris to start the third quarter, 3-3. So again, 3-1, now 3-3 at the half. Set piece, that was a three-line kick, penalty from Tacoma. Nick with just a very simple rollout to Mendez, who puts it short post on Birueta here. Maybe surprises him with that ball. Maybe Luis with the weight on the right foot here. Let's watch. Yeah, you could see pushed his weight right at the moment. He pushed his weight onto his right foot. Sebastian shoots at the other side, wrong foots him, and it's a 4-3 game. But this was a ping pong quarter. And again, Tyler John proves unstoppable, Shaq-like in the matchup as he just shrugs off Drew Ruggles there, who's supposed to be able to win that 1v1, and pushes it to the middle. And once again, you've got a runner. That was all set up by a nice Nestor Hernandez pass there too, Tony. But Adrian Correa finishes it off, and 4-3. No, make it 4-4.
Yeah, and the Sockers looking for an opportunity to conserve some energy, because at this point, still the third quarter, it's a long game. A lot can still happen. And they were taking advantage in windows like this, in set pieces. But then immediately they were giving up those goals. And then you just kind of saw that eventuality of like, I'm not sure if this is going to be sustainable for a whole quarter, if not the rest of the game. But then again, still taking advantage of this one touch here, self-pass, autopase, and a great strike.
And Nick doing his thing. And, of course, the Sockers running each possession through Nick because they have to, because the other target forwards are all out, and it works. And it's 5-4. And, again, we're talking about less than a minute later. Back comes Tacoma the other direction. Guess who? Tyler John dribbling through. Nobody to stop him. And that one, straight away, save not made, 5-5. Back to a tie. Tyler John roaring in celebration. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah, just absolutely unstoppable tonight, unplayable. And when you're facing with a player like this, anything that they do is going to be a dangerous play or a goal. And it's just one of these days where if they just kept giving it to Tyler John and Tyler John maintained himself on the floor the entire match, this could have been completely different at the end of the game.
Tyler John in a 5-5 game rolls it back. Juice Cox to the back post. Chase Hansen, who was unmarked at the beginning of the play, was unmarked at the end of the play. 6-5. Well, all the way through 5-4 San Diego, the game felt like a game that was only going to run away in one direction, which was San Diego running away with the game. You kept wondering, is the dam going to break? Almost like we saw last night at Snapdragon. Is the dam going to break? And instead, here comes Tacoma with 2 goals, and now they've got a 1-goal lead in the fourth, and now you got a really tired Sockers team, and here's where a hot goalkeeper can win a match. Luis Birueta with a beautiful stop right there. Sockers continuing to pressure throughout the fourth, playing the angles. Birueta, shot stopping dynamite. The counterattacks always on for Tacoma. Great chance there, point blank. Pardo makes 1 save. Second shot is put above the crossbar. That could have been 7-5. That could have been the game right there for Tacoma. You started to get that feeling as the quarter wore on that if Tacoma got one more, and here's another good save by Boris and Yahir Romero, that there might not be enough in the tank for a comeback for Diego. There might not be enough left in the game, Tony. Power play for San Diego. And once again, you want to talk about the moments within the moments to get a win. This is a power play unit that has Mitchell Cardenas, the only true defender out there. It's got Sebastian Mendez, Leo, and Felipe. Felipe, speaking of which, has back-to-back chances here late in the fourth. Nothing doing. Now the Sockers going for 6 attackers with 2:35 left. Last 2 times they've done this, it's been an absolute disaster. They've conceded multiple goals. You're wondering, 30 seconds left. Any chance to come? Drew gets his shot blocked. Leo dancing to keep it alive. His pass is blocked. The rebound is kept alive by Felipe there, and then Mendez. That was pretty important. With 14 seconds left, they reset. Leo shoots. This one is blocked off the line by Chase Hansen. That would have been a goal. Comes back, and there's Nick Pereira. Costa finds his leg. Nick turns it around. He knows it's his 500th career point. He'll signal it to his wife in the stands. Hey, you, 500. And look at the time, 5.3 seconds. It was 5.4 when Escoto scored. 5.3 seconds in the fourth quarter. Another Tacoma win disappearing thanks to soccer's magic. Usually Nick's been on the other side of those moments. This time he gets to be on the San Diego side of it. And just what a clutch play by a target forward there. But the quarter's not over, and John gets a header to the knee of Nestor, who rolls it in for the goal at 60.05.
It's just enough time. And here was the moment where I'm just like, anything can happen here. Like, we both saw and heard what we saw live. So did the fans at Front Wave Arena, which were crucial, I think, to giving the spirit to the San Diego Sockers to be able to go through that fourth quarter. The crowd was definitely in on it. But man, trying to look for a needle in a haystack of needles here, just there was no way in my mind this could have been reversed, and it took too long for comfort. But you see it here, just so close for Tacoma to come out victorious.
Yeah, this is just a disaster for San Diego to get beaten down the floor when they only have to defend half the floor in 5 seconds. And you can see that Pato is behind the play. Reyes was behind the play. It was allowed to happen. That's Pato's man, Nestor Hernandez, right there. Absolute howler, but 5-point-ish. And as you said, because they didn't have a superimposed score bug or a goal light, an automated goal light like we used to have at the sports arena, they were left doing God knows what downstairs to try and figure out the time, whether they were, counting on fingers, whether they were doing one Mississippi. Thankfully, they didn't try and reverse the game on that. On to overtime. Ouch, off the face, Nestor Hernandez. In your face. Right back come the Sockers. Leo down to Nick. This is so routine. Leo down to Nick. No double team. Roll it out. There's the overlapping run. There's a goal. Literally, the Sockers can run this play 30 times a game. Throw it down to Nick. Oh, there's no double team? Immediately do an overlapping run. He'll lay it off. You'll have a clean shot on straight away on goal. And for Sebastian Mendez, who broke his arm in the last game and is wearing a cast, that's all he's wearing above the waist at the end of this one. Little dance move. Nice. Okay. Oh, into the DMX at the end, or the Ronaldo. But I mean, honestly, that's just 101. That's indoor 101 right there. Get it to the target, feed the target, control, no double, run off him. Sick.
Incredible. The Sockers had also defended well in the last play. Pee Wee going down, literally just defending with everything that he could. Sockers get the ball back on that possession and are able to immediately, because they didn't have any time. They didn't have any energy left. Like, I think I mentioned, like in Spanish, you say like no puede con su alma. Like, they're so tired. The weight of their soul is too much to bear. And at that point, the Sockers knew what they had to do. And an incredible play from the veteran to the youngster. And this is, what the Sockers have been able to be successful with the last couple of weeks. And what a victory. What a victory for the Sockers to come out with 2 points after this game.
It could wind up being like the most important point of the year. You don't know. You don't know for sure. But this was a game the Sockers could have given up all 3 points. and been 6-5-1, 6-6, basically at the halfway point, and a lot of questions about what's the true character of this team. Even if you believe that there's a final version of this team, a final form, what if they just, because of their age and being prone to injury, that they can just never get there? What if they're just you never see it because there's always 4, 5, 6 guys that are hurt or below condition, at every stage of the year. That could still be the case. We don't know. There's 5 matches against Kansas City left to come, and those are going to be tough matches. I think if Kansas City was there on Sunday afternoon, I don't think the Sockers would have won the game. I think if Milwaukee was there on Sunday, I think if Empire was there on Sunday, I don't think the Sockers would have won the game because they didn't have their best defensive day. They were so tired. They're so run down. They're really playing at the bottom of the roster in some areas. And even the kids who have been asked to hold the line, they're exhausted from being put on such a heavy workload over the course of the last month with no respite. So this was so easily a game that could have gotten away, that we would be sitting here in these exact same seats at this exact time saying, look, it's nothing that we're going to rip the team about. Like it's a tough loss, but it's really understandable. And it's a tough loss, but it's also revealing that this club's going to struggle when they're at this stage, and any club would struggle when they're at this stage. Well, they got the win. They got the win out of it. And that's just a gigantic potential swing in this season.
Yeah, and you're not going to be playing Tacoma every game. As you mentioned, Empire, Milwaukee could have definitely come in and gotten a victory potentially, but Tacoma also shot themselves in the foot over and over and over again. Tyler John getting himself out for over 5 minutes, where he was literally the boogeyman for this Sockers team. Birueta, who, as you mentioned, had a great game stopping shots, couldn't distribute with his hand, with his foot, just was giving possession over. And so those things were taken advantage of by the Sockers, and in a moment where they knew they had to conserve energies from halftime. Essentially, they picked their spots, and they defended well. They defended with their heart as best as they could, but on the other end, you still have to score, and they were able to do that in those moments. And it's a tough loss if you're a Tacoma Stars fan and follower, because they had it. They genuinely had it, and good for the Sockers. I'm not going to say here and the Sockers didn't win the game, the Stars lost it. Like, no, the Sockers definitely went in and still got the job done. They did what they had to do, knowing that they were going to take some lefts, some rights, and come out with a couple of black guys, and got the result. And these are the victories that really make champions too. Looking back at the season at the end, if this is a positive season for the Sockers, this is going to be a match that you're going to be like, remember that Tacoma match that they could have dropped, could have lost? Well, they didn't. And here we are.
If this was Nick Pereira's old Stars show, I would say 3-2-1, how to lose a game. 3, Luis Birueta 3 times in the final minute 30 had the ball in his grasp, and on the very next touch gave it away back to SanDiego. And it was over 5 times in the closing stretch that he distributed, and the ball went straight to somebody in blue. And those seconds lost, like if you just get it to a guy in white, if you just get it to an empty corner, if there's just not a straight giveaway, those seconds could be adding up to the 5.4 seconds that were remaining when Nick Pereira got that shot away. Maybe there's no time left when Nick gets the shot away. So that's 3. 2, Tyler John misses about 7 minutes of the fourth quarter because he takes a yellow card in a non-confrontation with Drew Ruggles. And that moment probably costs Tacoma a goal, because every time he came down the floor against the tired team, he was beating whoever SanDiego threw at him, including Drew, Leo, whoever. Like, he was beating guys down the field. He had more strength and more stamina than anyone on the floor. So John taking himself out with his mouth was gigantic. That's 2 on my list. 1 is very simple. One is three lines that you thought you were able to shut down on, and the entire Stars team, including Luis, shut down on that play. When the ball came down to Nick, Luis was half defending, half yelling at Shane Butler. And the officials got it exactly right. Tacoma gave up on that play. And you go like, okay, well, it's a thing that happened. Well, it's a thing that happened in a 1-goal game. So that one goal, Tony, was literally the goal. That's the difference for 2 points for San Diego and 1 instead of 3. It's a 4-point swing in the standings in terms of what happened on that one play in the first quarter. So, 3-2-1 for Tacoma, 3-2-1 blast off into the Stars, that loss. And I'm willing to say here on the San Diego side of it, that's how they took advantage and that's how they got benefit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that goal with the assist from Boris on the line, because that's intentional, right? Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. Boris is a veteran that's going to do that. It's almost the equivalent of a hidden ball trick, because everybody just kind of stopped, looked around, and froze. And good for Nick to be in the moment and be able to capture that, because that's what it takes. It's these details and being detail oriented. We've sat here in the past and criticized just the detail orientation of the Sockers in the past, and it's really showing through. And they're playing up here, knowing that their bodies are in the condition that they are. They're trying to transition and play up here mentally. And if they can go ahead and do that, they're going to go ahead. It doesn't matter necessarily who's on the pitch, who's healthy, who's on the floor, because they have the experience. They have the wherewithal to say, you know what, let's be efficient. Let's cut all the fat from what we need, and let's just score. Bing, bang, bomb. These set pieces, okay, let's be intentional about this. We know what we're supposed to do. Let's not waste any time. Because guess what? On the back end, we're probably going to give up another goal. So we're going to have to take these opportunities where let's trust on Boris. Let's trust in the team. And the team ended up coming out with a victory. This is an ugly team victory. And usually you say team victory it's flawless, so much beautiful passing, top to bottom. Boris has a great day. But sometimes you have ugly team victories, and this is one where the team can look back on and be proud of. In the locker room, they can look back and say, yeah, we came together, and this can once again galvanize a team and really be a marker to a turning point for the second half of the season.
I agree. I said to our brain trust after the win in Baltimore and the end of that road trip that you had to win these 2 games. That you have to win this game against Tacoma. You have to win this game against Utica this weekend, because then you get a 3-game winning streak. You're now officially rolling toward something, right? And then you get back into difficulty. I mean, the Valentine's Day weekend is an absolute bear. To go to Kansas City, play a Valentine's Day game against the Comets. That's going to be a hard game. First matchup of the year between the two franchises. KC is going to be loaded up. Now, they do play Milwaukee on Tuesday, but Tuesday to Saturday, I almost feel like if you're healthy, it's almost an advantage to play. But it'll also finally bottom out the ridiculous games in hand situation, because Kansas City will once again go 4 games ahead of San Diego. They'll get to they'll be 16 out of 24. They'll be 16 out of 24 at the end of Tuesday game against Milwaukee. So there'll be that they'll be on match 2 of the week, and we'll be on match 1, whether that's good or bad. But then San Diego has to fly 6 a.m. Kansas City time, which is 4 a.m. San Diego time, which means they're getting up something around 2 a.m. San Diego time to get to the airport to get back to San Diego, where they'll land at Lindbergh Field at 9:30 on the 15th, and they will play at 4 p.m. against Empire. And for Empire, it'll be their first match of the week. Wow. And given the youth and the speed and the athletic advantage that Empire has proven over 4 matches that they have, that February 15th game looks like a daunting task for San Diego, unless they're a lot closer to health
than what we've seen so far. It's going to be a daunting task on both ends of that back-to-back. So this match against Utica is a huge match for the Sockers. And I just got a text from Mitchell. He's struggling with his iPad to get connection into the system. So we're waiting on Mitchell. We'll continue to hope that he'll be able to lock in, and we'll get him up here on the show very shortly. But we can, just kind of continue, to talk about what's going on. How about it? I got to say, I think we had a pretty good broadcast on Sunday. I think the crew had a good broadcast. I think you had a great broadcast. I think I did a good job. And I think we tracked the story of Nick's chase for 500 like kind of perfectly. Because at the beginning of the game, it was like, I had sent the emails to Mary Beth and to Sean, like, hey, let's make sure we have a graphic because it's 4 points away. I think he maybe had 1 4-point game for the Sockers this year, but it's not something you always expect, right? But like, just in case we're pretty hurt, Nick might be the center of the offense. Usage rate's going to be up, like in the NBA parlance, his usage rate is going to be way up here. So, be ready. And then I'm texting to them every time he, first goal, 497. Oh, he gets the assist, 498. Okay, he gets the next assist. Oh, 499. Let's be ready. And then I said to you on the air in the fourth quarter, I said at the beginning, this was kind of a whimsy, like, well, maybe he'll get 4 points in a game. And then by the fourth quarter, it was, if the Sockers are going to win, he has to get 4 points in this game. He has to get 500.
Yeah, and really, we've been, we've seen what Nick Pereira is capable of, a MVP caliber player, just one of the greats of the league. And, I've been having some people who watch soccer kind of watch more San Diego Sockers, and I've told them about, hey, Nick Pereira, when this happened, when the transfer happened, this is the guy that you're going to go ahead and watch. And I'm not going to say that they were kind of underwhelmed by what they saw, but I'm just like, hey, give him some time. He himself has said, I need time to acclimate to the team. I need time to go ahead and meld. You heard the youngster saying, hey, now we're understanding what Nick needs us to do. It's get out of the way. Sometimes just get out of the way, give him some space, and he'll cook. And it's exactly what he's been doing, and that's how he's been getting these points. And, it's just incredible to see a player of such caliber and such pedigree rise up to the occasion in such a way. And storyline wise, I mean, what's better? 500 points to your former team one season out. Like, it was just a great night as a Nick Pereira fan, and good to see him be able to get that 501. Right, we need to update this. It's now 501.
Correct.
And man, poor Nick, man. Like he wanted to celebrate, but he was just so tired. Like there wasn't a lot of celebration energy in him.
Yeah, I loved it. First, he got 500 to tie the game, and then he buttoned it down. 501. Little button down at the end. Nothing? Never had a 501 button down jeans in your life, Tony? You never had the button down jeans?
With no zippers? That's what just button.
Yes. The Levi's 501 jeans have like 3 buttons. It has no fly. It has like 3 buttons.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare if you really have to go. I'm just saying.
I mean, is one button a nightmare? I mean, certain guys have to undo all 3, I guess. But all right, let's end that discussion right there and move along. We are thrilled that his iPad's working now, and our Nick Pereira discussion was the perfect amount of time to get IT on the task. Let's welcome in a man who's been wearing the captain's armband of late for the San Diego Sockers, one of the only players that's appeared in every game for San Diego through the first half of the season. He is our rock on defense and one of the dear friends of the program. Mitchell Cardenas is back. Mitchell, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, it's always great to see you, see your smiling face, see your beautiful hair, know that your family is happy and well. It's great to see you, man. Let's get right into it. Tell us about today. I know today was a paintball day, a team bonding excursion
for the San Diego Sockers. How did it all come out?
Yeah, sometimes we need to do things off the field. I'm sure, all the teams in sports do things like that, and it really helps to build a good team chemistry, and off the field, sometimes those things are better than on the field training, especially in our schedule right now with how congested things have been for the past month. But yeah, we did a little bit of a young versus old, and young guys didn't come out on the winning end, so that's how the day went.
They thought they were gonna at the beginning, though, Mitchell. You know that.
For sure, that's what they thought coming in. A lot of yapping, a lot of talking going on, but in the end, they went home pretty sad.
Oh, I love hearing that. And what is these team bonding experiences? How does that translate onto the floor? How does that translate onto the time, the cuatro cuartos and the game time? How does that translate bonding outside with your teammates and putting it together?
Yeah, it's not really about what the activity is. We've done fishing, we've done barbecues, we've done this, we've done the, go-kart racing, all types of different things on this team. It kind of just helps to create more of a relationship, spend time off the field. You have time to talk about other things other than, how to defend this situation or how to get the ball to this guy. It's more about things that are not related to soccer at all. And, it kind of helps to create a stronger bond within teammates or, friends in this case. And, and like you said, in the long run, it kind of helps a little bit in those situations as well.
I mean, right now, Mitchell, to refer to this soccer's team as a band of brothers, I mean, it's not just because you had to team up in a paramilitary exercise today with paintball guns. You guys have been pushed to the limit to an extent that I can honestly say, as someone who's been here since the beginning of the modern soccers, no modern soccers team has been asked to do what this team was asked to do over the past month and the past 7 games. Not just the 6-match road trip, not just the 14,500 plus air miles that you had to fly in 20 days. And actually, it turned out to be 21 because you got snowed in Baltimore to miss one return flight. And one of the days that you didn't fly, you took an 8-hour bus ride overnight from Delaware to upstate New York for a game that you had to play like 6 hours later, at least be at the arena about 6 hours later. You lost 5 different guys to injury over the course of the road trip. One of them, a broken arm that he just played with the next game. By the time the second quarter was around on Sunday, you were without 12 players, starters and reserves, off of a roster of less than 30. So can you just speak to, as a guy who wears the captain's armband, a guy who has played in every one of these games, the level of duress to which you guys have been asked to rise to the occasion the last few weeks?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I think, everybody has kind of struggled within their own way. Some with injuries, some with other things, away from family or certain situations that we've had to miss because of these trips. But yeah, like on the field, the one thing we've always kind of said to each other is, and kind of made a big point about, is just, the next man up, and whoever's on the field wearing the crest has to wear it and represent it the way it needs to be. And I think we've tried doing that. On some occasions the result hasn't gone our way, but the team's kind of putting their foot forward, and everybody's kind of doing their best whenever it's our turn to get on the field. And it's definitely been rough, but in the end, nobody really cares about all the extra stuff when you're on the field. Everybody just wants to see the final result, and especially our fans always expect us to win. The ownership expects us to win, the coaching staff, ourselves, so it's been tough, but in the end, we had the schedule in front of us a long time ago, so that's not an excuse that we like to use, because we knew what it was going to be going into the season. But when you get these variables like injuries and whatnot, it's harder to deal with the situations. But everybody's doing their best to kind of face the situation and try to overcome every obstacle that we have.
Yeah, and I mean, just mentioning how tough tough that was. What were some of the toughest things for you on this road trip? And also, what are some of the lessons that you saw some of your teammates learn from this road trip? A lot of new blood and a lot of new players that are coming in as well.
Yeah, we're like certain road trips have been worse than others, I guess. Situations like, for example, we went to Baltimore, we were without, very key players for this team and for our system, and not just on the field, but also in the locker room. Within the leadership, we were missing a bunch of those guys. We've had a bunch of rookies coming in, so that's kind of been one of the hardest things to try and just get them going. Obviously, without a lot of training, because we're doing a lot of traveling, a lot of playing. So I think that's kind of shown on the field. But the hardest thing I think has been that kind of we haven't been able to develop a rhythm of games because we've been shuffling players in and out of the lineup. And obviously you guys know that when you have the same team playing week in, week out, it's a lot better than when you're just switching 5-6 guys per lineup. That's just kind of common sense. But I think that's been our biggest obstacle and the biggest challenge that we've faced is not being able to field a team consistently.
Over here, we're putting a lot of weight on those 2 points that you guys pulled out of the fire on Sunday because Tacoma had you dead to rights and you guys turned a 0-3 point situation into a 2-1 point situation. You don't know how important that could be at the end of the year. What were the feelings, Mitchell, on the bench in the fourth quarter as you guys were reaching for a reserve that I know there wasn't a lot left in those legs? I mean, you've been asking yourself, if you can imagine yourself as both the jockey and the horse, you've been going to the whip over and over for the last month. I know there wasn't a lot left there. How important was it for you guys to get that job done?
Yeah, I think, mainly it was a mental thing for us. I think when you come out with those victories, like you said, everybody's, struggling with legs and whatnot and tiredness. But if you're able to pull out those victories, it kind of creates a little mental edge for yourself against opponents, but also within your locker room. You're like, oh, we can, these situations come up, we can overcome them and we could come out, on the winning end of things. So it was very important for us to do that. And especially at home, we've lost games at home and we're not accustomed to doing that on this team. So we kind of have to stop doing that. So winning at home, even if it wasn't an overtime situation, was a must for us.
And I mean, talking about getting accustomed, right? Are the soccer players adjusting now to having Nick as an offensive weapon and as somebody up there to rely on?
Yeah. Again, like I said, it's been tough because of the lack of training time. Within the past month, not being able to train and work on certain patterns. You can't just, work on those during the game. The game you're trying to win the match. You're not sitting there trying to work on certain things. So that's been a tough part about it. But within watching film and conversations we've been able to have within ourselves, we're trying to figure out what we're doing, not just with Nick, but with other guys. I think Pacheco has done an excellent job coming in and gelling very well from the first game within this team. Getting guys like Pee Wee back, Felipe, those are huge contributors to this team, and they've proven it in the past years and winning championships as well. So, it's not just been one piece or two pieces we've had to get acclimated to. It's ourselves as well. Like I said, not being able to play with, the same 16 week in and week out, it's tough. But I think in the end it might help, and these guys getting minutes in these important games on the road, playing in Utica or in Milwaukee at Baltimore, like those are tough places to play at. So young guys getting minutes in those situations are also good for us, I think, because in the playoff push, you don't know who will be available. So if these guys are able to get in these situations now, when it comes into a playoff game, they won't be shell-shocked and they might be one of the key contributors in that moment.
I mean, you're leading me right into my next question, because while today the veterans got it over on the youngsters and very well so, and maybe they have to do a little bit extra work in the shower today to clean the paint off. That's outstanding on your guys' part. There's no question this is an older club. the San Diego Sockers. This is a team that when I fill out my lineup board and I give it to Tony every week, 12-year veteran, 12-year veteran, 12-year veteran, 10-year veteran, 11-year veteran. I mean, it's up and down the list for this club, all the way up to a guy like Craig in his 17th year with the San Diego Sockers. So understanding the learning curve that they're having to do and being thrown into the frying pan, like a couple of pieces of ham, at high heat here for breakfast. How good has it been to have Pato, Reyes, even I think of a kid like Mendez, even though he's an established player, a youngster, young, kind of headstrong, just going to run out there like a wind-up toy, to have those guys to help keep this ship afloat.
Yeah, it's important for us, like I said, for those guys to get experience, and the only way you're going to get experience is by being on the floor, with the lights on you and in front of another team, not just blue versus yellow in training, and it's very different. So, Mendez, he's been in the league for a few years. He's been in good systems with a coach like Tattoo and learned his way through there. But the other guys, the young guys coming in and proving what they can do, I think is a bright side for us. I think if you look across the league, it's tough to get guys who can come in without any experience within the league and make an impact, and I think they've done that. Obviously, they still have a ways to go on the learning curve and learning what the game is and what we are as a team. But we're doing our best to try and help them out, and I think they're pulling their own weight and proving to the coaching staff that they can fight for a spot on this team. And if they're doing well, why shouldn't they play?
Pues los chamacos y los veteranos both are going to have to go to Kansas City and face that series as it's coming around the corner. What's one thing that the Sockers need to do in order to make sure that they take that step up as the second half of the series is coming down?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that right now we have this game at home coming up against Utica, and I think it starts there, before the Kansas City series and all that. I know there's a lot of attention there because it's two of the premier clubs in the league. Believe me, we have that series circled on our schedule as well. But we've let points slip away that we shouldn't have, and we're very aware of that. But in the end, it starts this weekend, winning those 3 points here at home, and then moving on from there and facing that team who obviously is a title contender. Everybody's aware of that, and I'm sure it'll be a fun series for the fans to watch.
Well, Mitchell, you've been just the absolute rock of this team, and I just want to let you know that it doesn't go unrecognized, even though you're a defender and you're not at the top of the scoreboard in terms of goals and assists. By the way, I am tracking you're closing in on 200 career blocks in the MASL. I think it's 13 going into this week. So we are tracking it. We're tracking your milestones to make sure that you get your love when the round numbers come your way. But thank you for everything you've done. And on behalf of all of our audience as well, thank you for everything you've done to keep us alive, baby, to keep this thing rolling through the dark days of January and hopefully many bright days in the months to come.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the love, and to the fans, keep supporting us. We love seeing you guys at the arena. It's always better when it's packed, and believe me, the other team definitely feels the pressure when they're there. So thank you guys, and thanks for having me on the show.
You bet, buddy. Back to the family. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you out there on Saturday.
See ya.
Gracias.
There goes Mitchell Cardenas. What a great guy.
That's the guy. It's one of the guys of the Sockers. And I mean, best ability is availability, as San Diego's found out this season. And he's been available. He's been doing the dirty work. He's up and down. He's scoring and taking shots and having fantastic through balls. That through ball over in Baltimore. It was just incredible things that he's been doing this season. So kudos to him. And look, just bubble wrap him because we need to make sure Mitchell's out there for sure.
Oh my gosh. It's just one of those things. You're like, well, what if, and keep in mind, just like Nick Pereira. Well, thank God we had one healthy Nick Pereira. Nick Pereira was down with the flu all last week. He missed like 2 or 3 practices. When I saw him on Sunday, I'm like, how are you feeling? And immediately he was like, I still got, I'm still stuffed up. I still am messed up. My son caught the flu last week. He went back to Helix. He had to run in PE. He was like, I was gasping. I was dying, just from running back. Nick was like, nope, you've gone from the show pony to the mule. We need to just keep putting load on your back and have you carry us over the course of that game. And he did it. Those big old tree trunk legs were able to carry. Huge result. A lot of fun. Great interview with Mitchell. And Marlicia, we hear the kids. I mean, listen, the Cardenas family has grown up with the San Diego Sockers. It's just been so great what he does for this team. All right, let's get to MASL news. Not a ton in terms of league news, big suspensions, controversy, what have you. I think the most simple thing to say, I still will stand by what I said last week, that I think the top 3 teams will finish as the top 3 teams in some order. Soccer's Kansas City, Milwaukee. I don't know if Milwaukee's the favorite right now. I don't know if Kansas City is the pretend favorite because they've had this 3 or 4 games played edge the entire time. So you just don't know. I mean, right now, Milwaukee's got 2 games in hand. They're 3 behind. So when they get to 15 games, they could be at 30 points, which means they were actually ahead at the 15-game mark. You know what I'm saying? The disparate schedule, it's almost like horses all running the same race, but being let out at different times. And only the scorekeeper up top knows the concurrent times. If you were watching the race, this horse looks like they're ahead, but they were let out of of their thing and let out of their gate 9 seconds earlier. That's kind of what this league's schedule has been all year. And we're eventually going to get to the point that Kansas City stops playing back-to-backs. I don't know if they've at one point have 3 weeks off or something, but it's once it gets resolved, we'll know the truth between these 3 clubs.
Yeah, and Mitchell talk about it right now too. The rhythm of each team, right? Like the Sockers haven't really had that rhythm to build in because of their injury woes. But for Kansas City too, if you have certain breaks and certain stopgaps within your schedule, it also does put just a handbrake into whatever momentum you may be building. And for San Diego and Kansas City in that series that is coming down and it's looming, you want both teams to be at their absolute best in that moment, right? And so I think, much like you said, right, it's like in the Olympics where different racers start in different positions in different lanes. You're like, wait, what? That guy was like a half a mile in front of this in the
right?
On the what's going on? And yet the Sockers are over here just coming along and chugging along and making it happen. And in the standings, like, look at the numbers are the ones that don't lie. The not the one numbers on the left because they're a little iffy. But if anything on the right hand side from is what you're supposed to be looking at. And the trajectory for the San Diego Sockers is that of first place. If they can go ahead and get those results in the next couple of weeks, they can go ahead and end up there. But that Kansas City scheduling is just, again, awful interesting how it came down. But looking at let's go ahead and hope that Milwaukee and Kansas City just do as much damage to each other as they can, and then just have the Sockers just consistently go through and just what was it? What was they say? Ships passing at night, just passing into first place.
2 ships passing at night. Yeah. They could. I mean, they could sneak past and roll through. They would have to roll directly through Kansas City because they play 5 times. So, if either one of those teams wins 4 or 5 of those games, that team is the most likely team to win the Shield this year. If the series goes 3-2 in either direction, Milwaukee is the favorite to take the Shield. And I think it could be that simple. If the Kansas City-San Diego series goes hard one way or the other, that team can win the Shield. Otherwise, Milwaukee is going to win the Shield, and they'll deserve it. Milwaukee still has, to me, the purest record of any team in the league. They're 4-1 at home. They've played 5 home games to 8 road games, and on the road, they're 4-2-2. So they've pulled results out of 6 of their 8 home games, or road games, I should say, with 4 to go, and they've pulled wins out of 4 of their 5 home games with 7 to go. They've got a really good setup. They don't play San Diego anymore. They've got Kansas City at home next week. You know, they'll play St. Louis. They'll play Baltimore. They'll play everybody. I'm sure Tacoma is going to roll through there at some point. But that's how I look at it. Playing each other 5 times, it's only a good thing if you beat them a bunch of times. If you go 2-2-1, all you did was beat each other up and split the points and wish you had never played at all. You know, wish you had played a slot machine instead. It would have been a lot less painful.
Yeah, I mean, this is the hand that's being dealt, and I really think that as the players know and they understand, there's a lot of load management happening and mentally preparing themselves. That's why I like what Mitchell said too. Like, hey, these series against Kansas City, we the players are circling, and there's an import to them coming up, because that's going to determine how this year is going to finish for the Sockers.
Well, it might have been an important weekend for the Strikers, who went to Kansas City and lost 6-3, and then went to Baltimore in what I thought was one of the more important games of the weekend. I thought our game and the Baltimore Empire game were the 2 most important for the eventual table. And Baltimore drilled them 8-2. Wasn't close. Wasn't interesting. Wasn't high scoring. For Empire, 5 goals in 2 games. Really rough. Now, they've about bottomed out their situation of home versus road. I believe they're +3 now in terms of their home road situation. I know at the 13 game mark, they'll be +5. Okay, so they've got 1 more road game, I think, next. And they'll be 5 home, 9 road, which is just crazy. And then they'll get a bunch of home games down the stretch. That's why I continue to put my chip on Empire as a team that's going to make the playoffs, because they're going to have that athleticism, and they're going to have that youth, and they're going to have all those home games. But are they ever going to figure out their system? Feels like every time Orozco is in, it's got to be Orozco coming forward and doing this and that. And when they go to De Lima or Gomez, they just let their wingers play. And then all of a sudden they start scoring 9 and 10 goals. And I think I'm probably oversimplifying it for an Empire fan, but I feel like the system is starting to be a question mark in the Inland Empire.
Yeah, that was one of their strengths last year, is their identity. They figured out their identity. It was very new and, you know, almost revolutionary in different ways, and different ways of thinking about the game itself, and playing 4, 5, 6D chess at a time. But when you're caught in the in between, there's nothing there. There's actually nothing to sink your teeth in. And even as a defending team, right? Well, what are you going to defend? Well, just let them do what they're going to do, because it's not going to work. So we'll just stick to simple playing against them. They're going to be fast, and just let them create the mistakes for themselves, and Empire will potentially beat themselves. And it seems like that's been the case when they've had these matches that haven't gone their way in very bad fashion. But there are those inconsistent moments of brilliance where they do, out of nowhere, here's 10 goals. Like, okay, if that's what's coming in, yeah, you're dangerous for sure. But can you replicate that? Can you go in on any given game, on any given pitch, and any given travel and replicate it? That's what we haven't seen from the Strikers team this season.
And that's why I think it was important to Baltimore and Tacoma's playoff future that Empire got 0 out of 6 points this weekend. I think if they had gotten 3, 4, 5, 6 points this weekend, they they push up in the standings. They get back into the playoff part of the bracket. They keep Baltimore, especially if they beat them, out of the playoff part of the bracket, and it would have been another home loss for Baltimore. And I would have really started to think that Baltimore, not Tacoma, will be the team that will bottom out and let Empire in. Nonetheless, we stand where we stand. Now it's Utica's turn to go this week out west. They play Empire at home on Thursday. So maybe I had it wrong. Maybe it's 9 out of 50. Whatever. Regardless, Empire's gotten a ridiculous road draw early. Here's a game they have to win. They've got to beat Utica at home. And then it'll be a Thursday, Saturday for Utica. They'll play Thursday. They'll probably stay in Empire Thursday and then come down Friday and stay across the street from Front Wave Arena on Friday night. And then Saturday night, it'll be alumni night for the Sockers and Utica City FC, 7 p.m. Craig Childs bobblehead to the first 1,000 fans. Gates will open at 6. So, you know, it's going to be a line. And the question is going to be, at what point do you need to get in that line to make sure you get this bobblehead, which has Craig in the stash? Come on.
That's great.
That's going top right corner. He's blasting that thing over the goalkeeper. You can see it. Body weight is perfectly in line. That's an absolute goal every time for Craig Giles right there. What a bobblehead. Bobbleheads have gotten so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and worse if you look at some of the Wave ones, but I'm glad that Craig got his here. Like, he's really enjoying what he's about to do to that opposing goalkeeper. And for years and you know, for decades, almost decades, plural, he's been the torment of opposing goalkeepers with this same smile. Like, imagine, like, that's how he just enjoys playing. And even now into his age, like, he still has that joy out there. And you know, he deserves this and much more, because he is the Sockers. He has been the Sockers and the embodiment, both philosophically, both just stylistically, and just everything, man. Like, I have people asking, like, about Craig too. Like, hey, is this his last game? I'm like, well, no, he's still scheduled. He's still to finish the season. But they, you know, the question did come in about, like, I saw him go down. What happened?
Well, the report I got today was that it was it looked worse than it was.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Okay.
That there's a chance for Craig to play Saturday. And that if that does happen, it'll probably be more in the vein of what they intended to do with him all year, which was, you know, set piece situations. And if you have Tavoy Morgan back with Nick, those two guys could be the two primary forwards. You could have a defensive runner for the two of them as maybe one of the rookies or Pee Wee or someone else, because Cesar Cerda is expected, knock wood, to be back. Charlie Gonzalez is expected to be back. Cerda, Gonzalez, Tavoy, that's adding a critical player at each level of the San Diego Sockers lineup. It's as good as it can get, I think, right now for the Sockers. I think Morales, Pacheco, still a little bit away. That was it for Gabi Costa, is my understanding, is that he's either on a jet plane tomorrow or he's already left, and he's off to Brazil. And it's not impossible for his Kings League team to finish their season before our playoffs, and for San Diego to maybe get Gabi back around playoff time. But we appreciate his contributions. They were certainly needed during the road trip when he could be there. And if Charlie's coming back, Charlie can do, you know, all the stuff Gabi can do and even more. So it's like, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Appreciated. Hail fellow Wilmette. Everything good, you know, good vibes, good feelings. He doesn't want to leave the Sockers, but this is an opportunity. He's a Brazilian, you know, he's got family, and he's got to take care of them, and it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, and I mean the way that he plays the game is just, gave it his all and contributed immensely in this last game. He had a huge part in that Nick 500 goal, and if that's the last that we see of him this season, then that's a great way to go. I did catch up with him, like, just to say, hey, congratulations, felicidades, good luck, and yeah, exactly that. Like, he definitely would love to stay, and he even gave me that. Well, never know. Hopefully I can be back for playoffs. And he definitely wants to be here as a contributor, but all the fortunes to him. And again, like in the sport of soccer and in the soccer world, like opportunities like this don't necessarily come up very often. So the fact that he's taken him, if the fact is the soccer's put him in this position to get an opportunity with his play as well.
No, that's exactly right. That's it. I think if this winds up being a great season, we'll look back at January so much more fondly than we experienced it.
Yeah,
because that will be the suffering of the Sockers. That'll be the moment that they suffered to succeed. And I do believe that. I think there's a chance for this team to come together at the end and have a brilliant moment. Now, what they cannot do is overlook Utica, which is a team that, they're 3-6-2. So they've got 3 wins out of 11. They've got 5 results out of 11. They've been mostly at home. They've had a lot of lying in wait advantage into the first half of the season because they've had a lot of these 2-leg road trips that start in Baltimore and go to Utica. For some reason, they don't seem to go the opposite direction. I think that reason is the Utica Comets and the fact that they take Friday and Saturday night games at the Adirondack Bank Center and force Utica into Sunday afternoon games. But nonetheless, Utica on one level has had a lot going for them and has produced the worst result in the league with that. So they look like the easy choice, Tony, to finish 8th at the end of the year.
Yeah, and really, they really haven't been able to put a great game together. They have flashes. They have taken teams to the limit. They had that Kansas City game where it seemed like they might compete, at least to get a point out of it. But it's definitely tough to see them just try to come in together. And honestly, for me, I'm more disappointed because I was hoping to see, we've talked about this, X just get some minutes out there, because as a goalkeeper, if you are playing at the bottom of a table team, that means that you're getting shot on the most, which means you're developing quicker, which means on this loan spell, it's a positive thing, but it hasn't happened this way. And this is another chance, though, for almost a trap game for the Sockers. And that's not something that I would even want to put out there, but you don't want to face these teams that have nothing to lose. And essentially right now, Utica just doesn't have anything to lose if that's their projected value right now. And, the Sockers do have players coming back, which what we've seen before, right, is the players who have been here have built a chemistry, and now you're trying to get somebody else in that same rhythm, and things don't start working now. You start missing chances while you're not scoring, or missing possession in the midfield. You start giving up goals on the back end. Now you have a complicated game. That's what the Sockers can't get into. Just get down to business. If it means feeding Nick and doing that play over and over again, that's what you do. But don't make this any harder than it needs to be.
Utica is led by a San Jose native, Adrian Pinal, who old school Sockers fans will remember Turlock's Adrian Gutierrez. And I feel like Pinal is kind of the modern Adrian Gutierrez. He's big, he's burly, he's barrel-chested. You look at him and you go, is that a soccer player? And then he turns and he's got the legs, and it's like surprising. And he's got a good shot. I've watched enough Utica because, again, they're always on Sundays, like in the middle of the day, and I'll be folding clothes and watching Utica. And he's good, and he could turn our weary defenders, like we saw Tyler John. He could be a problem. Gio Alves is good. They've got some worker bees on the team, but there's just not a ton of offensive talent on Utica and on the big field, the plushy field. Soccer's getting people back. Yeah, Utica's dreaming that Kelvin Oliveira is going to come down the chimney and return to upstate New York instead of everything else he's doing. I think that's fat chance, no dance. And the last thing I'll say is I really wish they would have played Xavier more. And it's tough because he has not succeeded in any way when he's been on the floor for Utica. And if you're a Padres fan, or if you happen to be somebody who watches this show and Padres Hot Tub, you will know about Luis Camposano, who last year is like this prospect hitting offense forward catcher that dominated in AAA and like set a El Paso catcher home run record and had an OPS over 1,000. And we were always begging for Luis Camposano to get a chance. And then the only times he ever did get a chance, which was almost never, he literally got no hits. He went like 0 for 21. Then it's like, you sound stupid saying, please play Luis Camposano more. And anyone who's opposing it is like, he never gets a hit. What are you talking about? Say, no, but if you really gave him a chance, he could be good. And that's how I feel about Xavier. Like, if you really gave him a chance, I think he could be good. But Brian Wilkin has won that job. He's won it straight out. And frankly, from a soccer standpoint, I think they lost the loan. I mean, Xavier at least would have been backing up Boris, over the course of the last 2 months, and they would have given him maybe a couple of chances to play, along the way, and given Boris a little more rest than he's been able to get, which was 1.5 quarters of one game in Utica. That's all he's gotten, since Chris got hurt. So I think it's really failed for San Diego. It's failed for Xavier. His goals against is 21. His save percentage is in the 500s. The numbers are abysmal, but it's been in 30-ish minutes of service. So he hasn't even had one game. But the one game they started him, he gave up 10 goals so fast that they had to take him out of the game. So just a bummer all the way around. I hope to see him there. He hasn't been rostered the last couple of games. They've had a different backup keeper. And that's the point where I feel like if you're Cheeky and Phil, could you ask the league, like, hey, we loaned this guy. They're not playing him. I'm pretty sure I know that the response would be, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
But still, it's a shame. It's just a shame all the way around. Sweepy's too far from home. He needs the beach in Oceanside, not the rigatoni restaurants of Utica. It's too dark. It's too cold. We need Xavier home.
I mean, if he comes over and we tie him up in the back and Utica goes back, I don't think they would notice. So, just go.
Right, they'd be like, wait, less per diem? What?
Yeah, exactly.
We just couldn't play him. He'll just be out there playing beach soccer, just running on the beach, sad. But
he's your super soccer, but just because you can't reveal that it's him, just have a Zorro mask on him.
Yes. Wavier Zercilliums.
Oh, you mean Javier?
This is Javier. We have him do an accent. No, do we? I don't know. It could be funny.
The boys would allow it. It'd be fine.
Gotta be careful, but could be funny. Yeah, that we do miss him on Super Soccers. I'll say that. When they loaned him out, that was a grievous blow to the Super Soccers program. It was not a death blow. We were still able to grow it, but he would have been the star of Super Soccers. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I miss him. Let's do a GoFundMe for that so you can buy out his contract or buy out his loan. I don't know what the mechanics are. We'll ask MASL.
Yeah. That can be a topic for MASL Monday, but I don't think it will. Okay, last thing is just, Saturday's going to be a lot of fun. You got the bobbleheads for the first 1,000. It's alumni night. I will tell you right now, the Super Soccer's pregame show is an all alumni Super Soccer's pregame show featuring Eddie Velez, Anthony Medina, Jeff Hughes, and Scotty Martin, who will all play in the game as well, the halftime game. So they'll all have fun and games with us before the game. That's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to put them through their paces. Really, really looking forward to the Super Soccer's show. So make sure you get there early. You're going to want to get there early. There's going to be alumni hanging about. The Starlight Lounge is going to be open. Those guys have drink tickets up there. So there's going to be a lot of alums up there. Then, Tony, you're going to have to handle the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, play-by-play and getting us to break, because I need to get downstairs, because at halftime we're going to do a ceremony to recognize and honor Kevin Crow's induction into the Soccer Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
The U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. Of course, he's already long retired, in the Soccer's Hall of Fame. But, he's getting the national honor and being enshrined in May, I believe. So we'll have a quick ceremony of that. And then, of course, we'll have the alumni game. And they've asked me to do the PA for the alumni game and kind of MC it, which, if they don't give me good numbers, it's tough for me to just say, oh, on site. Oh, yeah, that's whoever, pretty tough. So we'll see how that goes. But that'll be my own, private Idaho to negotiate.
Judging from last year, if there's somebody who's dribbling up and down and scoring a bunch, it's probably Brian Quinn.
No kidding, right? Just like if it was the media game, if someone's scoring, it's Cabana Boy Jeff. It's just
an MVP, that guy.
Legend.
Yeah. Is there any talks of that coming back? I was actually asked today by our pal DJ Beto. He was like, "Hey,
great call. Yeah, DJ Beto would be once again an outstanding pick. Not this year. Not that I know of. Could it be something we could do for a playoff game to try and drum up some interest? Sure. That could be something that we could do. That could be something that could happen. So, stay tuned on that front. Stay tuned. There's plenty of SDFC soccer-ish people now that can get added to the mix. Jake thinks he can play. Gary Annie. Darnay obviously feels soccer-ish. He puts some soccer stuff out there. So, those are some guys we can get back out. I don't know who would run at Fox. I don't think Raul would, but maybe.
Fox, since they're merged, there's a let's see, the one guy that actually does incredible stuff, Chase Isidro.
Yeah. Oh, Chase. Yeah, absolutely. Chase,
Portugal fan, unfortunate Arsenal fan. But the stuff.
I don't get into your wars, your little game, your Game of Thrones over there. I don't. However that works out is fine.
How's Chelsea still world champions? Anyway,
I think on the Soccer's website they have the alumni rosters. There you go. Team Bowers. Well, Sean Bowers is on it. Paul Doherty, David Banks, Scotty Martin, Diego Terry, Robert Romero, Kevin Legg, Shanley Phillips, Anthony Medina, Zé Roberto, John Olu Malomo, Elio Bello, and Felipe Hernandez. Okay. Team Cheeky, Cheeky Luna, Brian Quinn, Chacha Namdar, Wes Wade. Oh, I want to see him running up and down the floor. Eddie Velez, Mike Mercuriali, Murky does hard work. Diego Rivera, Todd Bernard, Mike Demko, Jeff Hughes, Jason Heth, Brian Negretti, Anthony Meza. Those are your teams. Now, there and not playing, Zoltan aged out of the competition. Paul Wright could play if he really wanted to. Let's not lie. But Zoltan Toth, Kevin Crow, Ben Collins, Paul Wright, Phil Salvaggio, Nate Hetherington, Frank Viscara, Nick Awarchuk, Charwick, sorry, Ray Talia, and Sean Byer. All right. Great stuff. It's going to be a fun night. I once picked up Nick's ball at the Sockers golf tournament, thinking it was a stray ball, and it was his. I don't think he's ever forgiven me.
Got it. So don't do that when I get out there.
No. And in fact, I will tell you that I golfed at Mission Bay today, and I guarantee you on 18, someone picked up my drive and shot it as their ball on 16.
Oh.
Like they couldn't find, because Mission Bay is very tightly packed where all the holes are kind of next to each other. So I saw where my ball went, and then I saw this guy walk over there, and I was walking, so I couldn't like drive up and go, hey. I saw this guy walk up there and go to where I thought my ball might be and shoot. And then lo and behold, I got up there and my ball wasn't there. It's like, huh. Everyone saw where it landed. And then it's not there. What's going on? That dude stole my ball, you asshole. I did that to Nick. So not with the same level of knowledge I feel like this unfortunate man did today. But I digress. All of this to come on Saturday. Tony and I will have the call on MASL TV on Saturday at 7 p.m. with Nick Ferrara and our Amota broadcast crew. And with that, we'll bring an end to this episode of Soccer's Overtime. Great interview with Cardenas. Great game to remember.
It's going to be
that's one for the fans.
Yeah, no, I truly enjoyed that. And again, we just said it. Be out there, get out there. It makes a difference for the opposing team. Makes a difference for the home team too. To see so many people out there cheering, saying no, getting into it with the referees, like that's what it's about. That's a really cool thing that's been happening at Front Wave Arena this year.
Absolutely. And hey, we've had a good, solid supporter presence all year long with Los Brujos. But for everybody who may even be in other SGs that likes the Sockers, that has North County residents, please come on up. Why not make Saturday that day? Come on up, join the Brujos, get a ticket in the supporter section. All you have to do is reach out and use the code Brujos to get the supporters price. So get in there if you want to do it. Join up. Let's continue to build out the SG. And now that we're in season with SDFC, to me, it should even make it easier. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not for you and your family. But if you're up there in North County, come on out. Give the soccer side of that a try. By the way, I saw a lot of the Chavos last night, Tony, that were in the rows ahead of us on their vests, their patch vests. They get a Sockers patch they get a Sockers patch for being out at Sockers matches, and I saw a lot of Sockers patches for being at Sockers matches. So I was like, that's pretty awesome of the Chavos that they're recognizing that part of the supporters group, like physically on as a talisman on their vests.
I love that. Of course, the Sockers. It's the biggest soccer team in town for years. Still is.
Yeah. How many titles has SDFC won, huh?
Yeah.
One? No.
The Baja Cup? No.
Oh, the Baja Cup. Okay, one cup. The Baja Cup, I feel like that's the kind of thing Empire would like have a banner raising ceremony for. Like,
yeah, you don't get a star for that.
Hashtag Baja Cup bound. All right. We're just being silly now. Time to sign off the show. Tony, hard-working week. Of course, we were on at 11 o'clock live last night with the Chromaniacs wrap-up show of a 4-1 thrilling late SDFC dominance of Pumas that all of a sudden puts winning the round and getting to Toluca very much on the front foot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. You guys, I saw Wave Wednesday post this morning, 2 balls on the mic on Monday. Tell everybody about what's going on at SanDiego.Futbol.
Absolutely. It's the place to get all your soccer content, SanDiego.Futbol. Check it out on YouTube, Instagram, on Blue Sky, X, wherever you have social media. Go ahead and check us out. We do have a GoFundMe to get us to the World Cup and help us over there. Here's the QR code as well. It's directly to support us on that. Pay these lights, pay these bills, pay this internet. It's all going back to that good cause and having insane amounts of content out of a day. Probably one of our best match days. And having Ryan out there was fantastic. The Soccer's also use him as a photographer. So great stuff. SanDiego.Futbol.
For myself, in addition to the Chromaniacs, you can follow us on Instagram at the Chromaniacs. You can check out our Chromaniacs podcast if you're an STFC fan. If you're somebody who enjoys the San Diego soccer scene, it was really, really cool to be out at the stadium last night, be on the trolley, be walking to the stadium and have people say, love the show. One of the security guards, when they're done patting us down, like, hey, love the show. Great show. I'm like, thank you for not being invasive. Appreciate you. So it's really cool to see how the show's been growing. So as we are into the week to week of it for San Diego FC, I would definitely say check that out. If you're a San Diego Padres fan with spring training around the corner, I got texted during the show. Miguel Andujar signed a free agent contract with the Padres today for 1 year and $4 million to be our short side first baseman, our right-handed first baseman. We talk about it all on Padres Hot Tub, and you can check that out and, in fact, even support us directly at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, the best sports deal in San Diego media. Just to get into our Discord alone, it would be worth $10+. You can get in there for $5 a month and get our bonus episodes and get our ad-free episodes and get our live interactive shows, post-game shows all year long. So check that out if you're a Padres fan in any way, shape, or form. For Mitchell Cardenas and Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks for being here. Thanks for getting to the end of Soccer's Overtime, Season 8, Episode 11. We'll see you Saturday on YouTube. And until then, go Sockers.